Hey, welcome back to the channel. So I'm just doing a little sample tea leaf reading for you because you requested it. So I've shared some layouts, some basic linear layouts, I think 3, in a previous video on my Tasseomancy playlist here on the channel. And I had a request to actually walk through a sample interpretation of the tea leaves. So I've shown you how to brew the tea, how to, how far to drink it down and what to do with the cup. And then we talked about the layouts, the linear layouts like past, present, future, or full year ahead, 12-month interpretation. So we did all that, but you wanted to see me interpreting them symbolically, the tea leaves, which I guess can be useful, but I hesitated doing it before because my inner library of symbolism is unique to me. And, the colors red and green to one person evoke Christmas immediately, and to another person, not at all. Depending on culture and background and history, and so you have your own line of thinking, and when you're the reader and the designated reader, the message comes through you and your symbolism and your understanding and your history, your interpretation. So please don't follow my use of symbolism, but you can see how my brain works a little bit while I do it, and I hope that's helpful to you. And for more on symbolism and building up your own symbolic library in your brain, check out on the same series the symbolism video that I made. But okay, if you think it's going to be helpful, I'll do it. So you'll see a few cups and some videos because I had my whole family drink, and then I just kind of picked the best one because I wanted to make the video short, and that's what I used for the reading. So yeah, I guess let's just look at the reading, and it was completely on the fly, and it's a very short, brief past, present, future. Okay, I hope this is helpful. Okay, YouTube, here is sample reading 1. So hopefully the intro will have explained what I'm doing here. So, and I'm hoping that the camera is catching this. So this is our first sample teacup, and I can see already immediately we're going to do a past, present, future reading on this one because that's the one that I first explained to you on this channel, so it seems like it makes sense to give an example of that. So maybe we'll just do variations of that at least twice, maybe 3 times here. In this cup, I already see that in the past section, which would be the bottom, the floor of the cup, it's scattered. It doesn't really make sense. It doesn't make a shape, but I do see the letter T. So I feel like the letter T might be significant as a person, a figure, or an overarching theme or concept in this person's past. So aside from the letter T, things don't make a lot of sense. They're sort of separate events, sort of haphazard. There's a sense of disorganized thinking, a lack of focus and planning, and so I get the impression that that's how this person would have felt in their past. However, it kind of goes this way, and there's a tendency for me to naturally read in a clockwise motion. And when I see things moving that way, so you see it snakes and then starts to go to the right to lead, you sort of like jump like a frog onto lily pads to follow the direction of things. When I get over here to where I start to climb the wall of the cup, so when you hit the wall of the cup, now you're getting into present. So the whole wall, the sides are present. When I get to the wall, okay, I see a lot of things. First of all, I see undissolved sugar. So I get this sweet, maybe a very sweet and sensitive person comes to mind. Maybe overly sweet, maybe too sweet. Maybe it's a vulnerability, a naivete in the person's judgment. Yeah, it might be perceived as a weakness by others, so that's kind of a cautionary message. Currently, some people might take advantage, or this person might not feel emboldened enough to advocate for themselves because they're on the sweet side. They're a little too sweet, a little too meek, perhaps. I see shapes now taking form and climbing, and it finally starts to make sense. I see a maple leaf, which to me, maples were the first trees I got to know because they were the trees in my childhood home, yard. And I think about, again, that sweetness that comes out when you get maple syrup out of the trees, how they're strong and slow growing and useful and beautiful, and they work with the seasons. And so I'm getting a message of, in the present, there is the person being led by their heart and their feelings, and that can be a strength like a tree. It can be a gift to others, like the sap that comes from a tree. And it can be a vulnerability and a weakness. You know, it's this huge target on this shape of this huge maple leaf. When I hope you can see that. I don't really know what you can see. I'm just winging it here. You know, this is not a pro setup. So when you get up higher, and I hate to say this on camera because whenever I hear this stuff, I turn off immediately. Always, but I'm just going to tell you what I see. I see a winged figure that is rather fairy-like or angelic. Take your pick. So my gut instinct is this is a very like guarding figure. I see the robe here, and it's leaning forward. There's the head, there's the arm overreaching, looking over down on the present and reaching up into the future. And these are the wings. I don't know if you see that. But it doesn't matter what you see. What matters is what the reader sees. And currently I'm the reader. And all that matters is how I automatically, intuitively respond to the symbols, because I'm the messenger, right? So that's what I tried to emphasize in our symbolism video, but we'll talk about that later. So when I'm looking at this, because you wanted a sample reading, I'm seeing this guardian, you know, that's watching over, and things are going from disorganized and scattered to more focused, being led by the heart a little as we get into the present, but being guarded and guided by spirit guides, I would say, possibly ancestors. Proceed from there, but that's my instinct. And then as we head into the future, I see a very clear kind of turtle. There's a little turtle head, and there's a little turtle-shaped body, and we've got little legs and a little tiny point of a tail sticking out. Immediately, I read it as turtle. It doesn't matter what you see. You might see all kinds of crazy stuff, but I'm the reader, so the message was for me to interpret, and it's what I see that was agreed upon in this whole interaction that would make the most sense. So don't overthink things, don't question yourself, and you don't have to agree with anyone else. When you're reading for someone else, they don't have to see the same thing that you're seeing. If you are the designated reader, it's what's working through your subconscious and your own inner library of symbolism. That is the language you're using. So the turtle, to me, as we get up into the future, it's coming out of the present into the turtle, is that I see a strong, steady presence. I think of that whole turtle in the hair, tail. I guess that's a fable, right? Yeah, you call that a fable. And the message, you know, of slow and steady wins the race, that we're making slow and steady progress. And we went from disorganized and whatnot, and with some guidance and some help from the realm of spirit, we are moving ourselves nice and strong and steady, growing like that maple tree into a direction. Just like I think about the determination of turtles when sea turtles are, you know, trying to get to the sea after they've hatched out of their little eggs and their little tiny babies, and that slow, steady determination, and we're just headed that way, moving toward our goals. I also, of course, get a sense of protection. It's a protection message, but not one that seems cautionary to me, because that turtle's head is out. It's not scared. It's not sucked back in. It's moving. It's moving and it's active. But the message is that you have all the things you need to protect yourself, that you can stop and pause. You don't have to be in a hurry. You can take your time, and you can protect yourself. You have the skills and the abilities and the tools to keep yourself safe and to get to that finish line of your goals as we hit this future line, which is always the top. So that is a perfect example of how I would read with a simple past, present, future reading in a cup. And you'll notice that this cup broke all the rules that I told you in our first video about supplies. So I can talk about that. I'll make a separate video for that. When you start to branch out and not go for the easiest cups and the easiest setup, and you might happen to have a little bit of a quirky cup, what you can do there. And I'll talk about that in another one. So let's pause here. So that's one straight up legit reading for someone that consented to allow me to read their cup after they drank it. Okay, thanks for watching. I do realize that part of the cup got cut off a little bit in the frame, but I think the message is still just as useful. And just hearing the interpretation and seeing me working my way through the cup, even if occasionally some of the leaves were out of view, should give you an idea of how the interpretation process goes for a simple layout like that. And I promise I will do some more sample readings, and in future ones I will make sure that my cup is more properly centered for full viewing accessibility. Thanks for watching. Take care.